Hello and welcome to this first tutorial on using the 4x4 Adventures trail editor. What we're looking at here is the trail editor loaded into Firefox, and you'll see at the top here I've put in my 4x4 editor HTML file which is sitting on an Apache server, and I've been presented with a screen split in two. On the left hand side is the trail I'm going to be editing, and on the right hand side is my tool panel. So now we're going to have a look at making a very simple level. The very first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have a reference point for how big everything is. So to do that, we're going to come down on the right hand side here to this desert boulder, and we're going to click on it. You'll notice if you hover your mouse over any of these buttons that they'll come up and tell you what they do, and quite a lot of the items here also have a shortcut key which you can use as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the boulder and we're going to change it. So this is going to bring up a panel of all the different objects we can place into the world, and we're going to choose this car at the bottom here, which may be at a different location on your system. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this little button that's slightly above it to add the object into the world. Now, what this is used for, it's not actually going to be placed into our world, we're just using it as a reference guide for how big everything needs to be. So we'll place it on the little startup platform over here, click with the left button, and we have our car. As I said, that's just a reference vehicle. It won't actually be saved out when we save the level, so it'll always discard that item. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to add some terrain points in. At the top of the panel here, this little button with a plus on it, click on this, and this switches us into terrain adding mode. And it's a simple matter of coming over and using the left button to place terrain points. So let's just make ourselves a little hill. And there we go. All of a sudden we have an off-road world. Now you might need to edit this hill if it's not quite what you want it to be. So the first things to do here are to turn on this option called Show Terrain Joints, and this shows us all of the points where the terrain is segmented. While we've got the Add Terrain option selected, if I hover my mouse over any one of the points, you'll see a little blue line comes up with a red plus in the middle of it. And what this lets me do is subdivide any of my terrain points. So if I want to make finer detail at the top of the hill here, I just need to click down with my left button and it places an extra terrain point in. It splits each segment in two. Once I've done that, I can then come over and switch over to my Move Points tool, and now I can grab any point on the terrain and adjust it to suit. Similarly, if you end up with too many points and you want to discard some, just come up and use the minus tool here to remove points from the terrain. Right, and now let's just have a look what it's going to look like in the game. I'm going to turn on this paintbrush tool here, which colors the terrain with something that's going to be very similar to what's going to end up in the final level that you play. We can change what this looks like by using this texture drop down box. There's quite a number of different textures. There's a variety of different sandstones, rocks, ices, different styles of mud. You can choose anything you like to make the terrain look how you want it to be. Beware though, this just changes the look of the level. So currently this is what looks like an icy level. However, the material itself is still made of sandstone. So we need to adjust the material to what we want it to actually react with the car like. There's four types of materials you can use: sandstone, rock, ice and mud. So these are separate from each other. Which material you use, for example sandstone, doesn't isn't inherently linked to the actual look of the level. So typically you would choose a material first and then whichever style of texture you want the world to look like. So now we've got a level set up, we need to save it, and so we come up here, click on the little disk icon with the arrow pointing down, and which brings up our save dialog. If we're on a web server, we simply click on the level, press the save button, and that'll tell us that the file's been saved, and we can now synchronize over on the device. Or if you're using manual mode, you need to click on the save button, click the manual button here, and copy all of the text that's in this box, and follow the instructions, which involves copying and pasting this information into a text editor such as Notepad, and then saving the file with the name level xx, where xx is a number, .xml, and then copying that file over onto your device into a folder called levels/custom, and then it should appear for you to play. Alright, let's go and have a look what that level looks like on the device. Now if this is the first level that you've created, you'll need to go into the settings page, into the bonus options, and enter the URL to your editor. Type it into the custom download URI box, and make sure at the end of the path you have the levels folder specified so that the game knows where to find the levels. If this is the first time you've saved a level, you'll need to press the synchronization button, which will download the level from the server, and then you'll need to do a game restart for it to be read into the list of known levels. After you've done this the first time, you can save them and immediately access them after the resynchronization. Okay, with the game back up, we can slide across back to our custom trail section, and we'll see now that we have our level sitting waiting for us. And select the level and head on off to the level that we just created. As you can see, the sandstone we created makes the body of the terrain. The car is sized relative to the example car we used in the editor, and at the end of the level the game automatically fills in the finish line for us. And that's how you make a simple level in 4x4 Adventures.